Hello everyone, welcome to my weekend books. And this time around, I'm going to be filming for a whole week and I'm going to talk about all the books that I got to read this week. And at the moment, I'm reading a very battered copy of A Darkness at Sethanon by Raymond E. Feist. This is the fourth and the last book in the Rift War saga. And as you can see, it's incredibly battered. But that's to be expected because I got this at my local book fair and it's a secondhand copy. And it's a high fantasy novel and this is the only book that I'm reading at the moment, but it could be possible that I might read some other books later on this week, so stay tuned for that. This is the summary of the book, so please pause to read it. This is the fourth book in the Rift War saga. It's a high fantasy novel, and we're basically following two storylines and several different characters. At the start of the book, we were following Jimmy, and now we're following Thomas and Pug. And I'm on page number 87 at the moment. It's pretty good. I feel like that Thomas and Pug's story has a lot of sci-fi elements, and I'm not a really big fan of sci-fi. But But Jimmy's storyline, we see medieval high fantasy subgenre in it, which is really good. I always enjoy that genre. It is one of my favorites, and I would definitely recommend you read this, but of course read the other books in the series because this is the last one. Read the first, second, and third, and then read the fourth one. It is pretty good so far. I am really enjoying it. This is the best honey in existence, honestly. Not sponsored, but still. I love this so much. I started reading this book today. It's called Norwegian Wood by Haruki Murakami. This is a translated Japanese fiction work, and this one is translated by J. Rubin. Honestly, we tend to forget the translator, so I wanted to mention his name in this video. And this book is about a young man who's reflecting on his time when he went to university, when he was a student, and how he met this girl called Naoko and how he fell in love with her. This is a coming of age story and also a dark academia novel, although I'm not entirely sure because there are only like a handful of people who call this dark academia because of the university setting. And this book is actually a gift from one of my classmates. She very kindly gifted this to me for my birthday, which was last week, and I'm super excited to read this. And I don't really want to mention her name, so I'm just gonna give her an alias, I think. Should I give her an alias? I think I should. So I'm just gonna call her Mary, and she's the one who gifted me this book. So if Mary is watching this, then thank you so much for giving me this book. I'm really enjoying it so far. And yes, I wanted to share with you how far I am in the books. I'm on chapter number 3, and the book is really good so far. It's like any coming of age story. We start how things began at a young age, and then of course we move forward, and of course the main character's age slowly increases. This is really interesting story. I really like stories that start when the main characters are young, and then of course slowly they grow older and they learn a lot in their story. I actually am a bit confused. I want to know what this is because I've seen this cover multiple times on the internet and I want to know, are these legs or are they tree branches? Because, oh, sorry, not branches. Are they tree trunks or are they legs? Like silhouette of people's legs? Because I'm a bit confused. I would like to know. Here's a passage from chapter number 3, page 32, where our main character, Watanabe, is describing his love for books and all of his different and favorite authors. And of course, he talks about his favorite book as well. I read a lot, but not a lot of different books. I like to read my favorites again and again. Back then, it was Truman Capote, John Updike, F. Scott Fitzgerald, Raymond Chandler, but I didn't see anyone else in my lectures or dorm reading writers like that. They liked Kazumi Takashi, Kanzaburo Ui, Yukio Mishima, or contemporary French novelist, which was another reason I didn't have much to say to anybody but kept to myself and my books. With my eyes closed, I would touch a familiar book and draw its fragrance deep inside me. This was enough to make me happy. At 18, my favorite book was John Updike's The Centaur, but after that I read it a couple of times. It began to lose some of its initial luster and yielded first place to The Great Gatsby. Gatsby stayed in first place for a long time after that. I would pull it off the shelf when the mood hit me and read a section at random. It never once disappointed me. There wasn't a boring page in the whole book. I wanted to tell people what a wonderful novel it was, but no one around me had read The Great Gatsby or was likely to read. Urging others to read F. Scott Fitzgerald, although not a reactionary act, was not something one could do in 1968. I'm on chapter number 4 at the moment, but a few pages back we were introduced to a new character, and his name is Nagasawa. And our main character, Watanabe, and Nagasawa became friends on their shared love of The Great Gatsby, which is a novel written by F. Scott Fitzgerald. And I could not help but notice that Nagasawa's lifestyle is very similar to some of the characters in The Great Gatsby, because we see in the novel the Great Gatsby book, we see that all the characters are living this luxurious lavish lifestyles, and they are committing a lot of immoral acts as well. So Nagasawa definitely has been influenced that by that book because he read it several times as well. So I'm quite certain that he's influenced by that. Not only Nagasawa is rich, he comes from a wealthy family, he's also committing immorality over here and there, and he has a very disturbing view on women. So I'm assuming this is why people don't really like this book. Like, this is just one point that people don't like this book because of the fact, because of the portrayal of women in this book. So I guess I can understand that. And I necessarily don't really like that portrayal as well. And so far, we see that Watanabe is also a bit influenced by him because Watanabe's favorite book is also The Great Gatsby. So hopefully his view changes over time in the book, because I'm only at the start of the book, as you can see. I've only read this much. So we have a whole novel over here to uncover. So hopefully changes his world views. Midori has finally entered the story, and I'm assuming that she's going to be the second love interest. Let's see what happens. This is gonna come off as really random, but when I was scrolling through YouTube, I found this new trailer of the Percy Jackson The Olympian series, and they're coming out with season 2. It is set to premiere on 10th December 2025, and I'm really excited about that because I remember watching season 1. I was really amazed by this series. I've also read the book, the first book in the series, The Lightning Thief, and it was wonderful. It was fantastic. And so when I came to know that they are releasing the second season as well, I really wanted to read the book first. But so I checked it online to see if I can get like the box set of Percy Jackson series, and I came to know that it's quite expensive. It was quite expensive. So I guess I cannot read the book series before the second season, I suppose. But I'm still really excited about the series. I think I'm gonna watch it before reading the books I suppose. One of the questions that I want to answer in this video is that do I consider Norwegian Wood a dark academia novel? Because I am aware that many people on the internet do consider this as one, but if you look up on Goodreads, you would find that dark academia is not written in the genres. There are so many other genres like coming of age, Japanese literature, literary fiction, magical realism, but there is no dark academia. So I'm going to try and answer that question. First of all, I'm going to look into the themes of the book. Like, we have the main university setting, which really hints to the genre. And next, of course, is that the main character, Watanabe, is of a melancholic nature. Because of his past experiences, his best friend died a few years back, so I think he wasn't able to recover from it because that best friend was his only friend, so I'm assuming that is the case. And then, of course, we have themes of loneliness and grief, and also the main character feels like an outsider at his university. There are so many other students around him, but he just feel like that he is unable to fit into his surroundings. And also, the novel has a bit of an introspective tone where the main character is just inside his head all the time, thinking about things around him. So he's always introspecting. And also, I would say that the main character, since he is studying literature, I feel like that's one of the cases as well as to why people call this a dark academia novel. But there is also one more thing, that is this book, despite having several themes that are included in a dark academia novel, this book at its core is a literary fiction because instead of focusing on the university setting or having a mystery like a murder mystery or supernatural elements, it's more focusing on the character's life. Like, it's romance, there's a romance in the story, and how the characters, we see the characters' growth in the story as well. So I think it's more of a literary fiction. But if people do consider this book as a dark academia novel, it's completely fine. It may not be the most classic example of dark academia novel. It is, however, it can be considered, I suppose. And whether I consider it, well, I think I can consider it for some parts, I suppose. But other than that, this is definitely more of a literary fiction novel. I almost forgot to mention that Norwegian Wood is not my first Murakami. I have read two works by him before as well, and those two works are The Strange Library and After Dark. I'm going to give you a little summary of those books as well. And I remember when I read The Strange Library, I was not really, I'm not going to say that I wasn't impressed because I was impressed by the book, but it was a bit too absurd for my taste. And because of that, I didn't really wanted to read any other work by Murakami. But this year, decided to read After Dark, and that was really good. It was half magical realism, half set in the reality. I want to give you a book recommendation, although it's more of a book I want to read in the future, but I thought I'd share it with you. So, I was reading this Bookroid article, and they recently released a list of all the best books of 2025. And as I was going through the list, I came across this book that really intrigued me. It's called A Marriage at Sea, A True Story of Love, Obsession, and Shipwreck by Elm. No, it's not Elm. By Sophie Elmhurst. It's a memoir, a nonfiction book, a travel book, as you can say. And the summary of the book is Maurice and Marilyn make an odd couple. He's a loner, awkward, and obsessive. She's charismatic and ambitious. But they share a horror of wasting their lives, and they dream, as well as all dream, of running away from it all. What if they quit their jobs, sold their house, bought a boat, and sailed away? Most of us begin and end with a daydream, but Maurice began to study nocturnal navigation. Marilyn made detailed lists of provisions, and in June 1972 they set sail. For nearly a year, all went well until deep in the Pacific, a breaching whale knocked a hole in their boat and it sank beneath the waves. What ensues is a jaw-dropping fight to survive in the wild ocean, with little hopes of rescue. Alone together for months in a tiny rubber raft, starving and exhausted, Maurice and Marilyn have to find not only ways to stay alive, but ways to get along as their inner demons emerge and their marriage is put to the greatest of tests. Although they could run away from the world, they can't run away from themselves. Taut, propulsive, and dazzling, A Marriage at Sea pairs an adrenaline-fueled high sea adventure with a gutting love story that asks why we love difficult people and who we become under most extreme conditions imaginable. And that is the summary of the book. I'm not a really big fan of ship adventures, books that focus on sea life or ocean adventures. I'm not a really big fan of that. I'm also not a really big fan of adventure, like island adventure, island adventure stories that used to get published back in the days, those boy adventure novels. I'm also not really big fan of that. I guess that's one of the reasons why I never read Robinson Crusoe. It never really interested me. Travel books never really interested me that much. But I'm slowly trying to step into that genre as well. And I really am intrigued by this book. And also, I really liked Life of Pi. I watched the film, and it was really, really thrilling and kind of scary as well. I would be scared because I'm scared of the water. But yeah, I really enjoyed the film as well. So maybe I might like this book as well. It is about a sea adventure, so we'll see. I'm mostly interested to see what Maurice and Marilyn would do in this situation. But yes, I'm really excited about this book, so I thought I'd share with you. So to end the video, I'm going to just give you an overview as to what I managed to read this week. First, we have A Darkness as Sethanon by Raymond E. Feist. I only read about 78 pages. I didn't got past this page mark because I got distracted by Norwegian Wood. But this is also a really great book. Hoping to finish this later on. And of course, Norwegian Wood, which I am still reading. Of course, it's going to take me a while to read. I only managed to read about 95 pages of this book, and it's really good. I'm reading it quite slowly myself. I'm intentionally doing it because I feel like this is one of those books that are best appreciated when read slowly. So I want to read this as slow as possible to completely absorb the message in the book and also the themes in the book as well. So yes, thank you so much for watching this video. This is a bit of a long video. It's going to take a while for me to edit this, but I'm really happy that I made this video and shared with you all the books that I got to read, and also I managed to squeeze in some recommendations as well. So I really enjoyed it.